Hey guys, what is going on? You are checking out an all new The RCWR show for Monday night of July 27th, 2020. Lee Sanders here, covering the latest in all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. This is The RCWR show, a very well-rested Lee Sanders here. Guys, hope you had a fantastic weekend. I see we got some baseball. We got a little bit of basketball back as well. You guys excited? You guys pumped? I'm definitely pumped. I'm definitely excited, man. And to think the NBA officially really kicks off this Thursday on TNT with my guys, Ernie Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, Kenny the Jet Smith. I love Inside. I love Inside the NBA on TNT. One of my favorite shows that's out there. I love it. There's just something about all four of those guys. When you get them together, it doesn't matter how you get them together. Whether it's there at the Atlanta studio or from what we've been seeing of them the past couple of weeks, they all have basically been joining in by a hangout, whatever you want to call it, Skype, Zoom, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's just always awesome when we're able to get those four guys together. So I can't wait to see those guys, their reactions to everything that's going on in the NBA when it kicks back off and everything. Looking forward to it. Definitely looking forward to it. So loads of stuff we're going to be getting into tonight. Of course, I'm going to be talking very candidly about the passing of Regis Philbin, who passed away over the weekend. Hollywood icon, entertainment icon, awesome career that spanned well over 4 decades. No, maybe even more than that. I mean, I really got to sit down and do the math, but I'll definitely give my candid memories. Definitely a lot of fond memories of him and his passing, and a lot more. We got a fun show planned for you guys tonight. Now, look, we will talk about Raw. Hey, man, some nights we get Raw where, man, kind of unbearable to watch. But there was actually a couple of good things that was okay about Raw tonight. So we'll definitely get into that. But we're not going to just spasm all out over that. I do want to have this show be as short as possible because I got a short turnaround. I got a busy day tomorrow. So on top of dealing with work, I've also got to go get some blood work done. Nothing COVID related. It's just that time for me to get my A1C and all that checked out, see where everything is with my blood, you know, everything diabetes related, just seeing where I am and everything. So I got a busy day tomorrow. So after I get done with work, I pretty much got a jet, go to the doctor's office and get some blood work done. And pretty much from there, is all I got to say. Is all I got to say. But yeah, so I do want to have this show be as short as humanly possible. But have no fear. The way it's looking right now, maybe I'll be live with you guys Wednesday night, or maybe I'll actually be live with you guys Thursday night. So whatever groundwork we're not able to get across on tonight's show, we'll definitely cover more ground on the next show. That I promise you guys. But hey, real quick, I do want to send a speedy recovery to not just a Patreon supporter, definitely a longtime listener of the show, supporter of the show, no doubt, friend of the show. Definitely, I consider him a friend. Justin Ripstock, definitely want to send him a speedy recovery. Justin came down with the COVID, and I was stunned when I have found out that news. I actually was off work today, so was taking care of some personal stuff around the house. One of those things involved waiting on a technician to come check out my oven. I'll tell you a little bit more about that because, boy, that was such a shitty experience that went down earlier today. But I was just not really on social media throughout the day. I wasn't even checking the Discord like that. And then I just, let me see what's going on. Had a couple of minutes to spare. And then I saw late in the afternoon, Justin had hit me up in the Discord and he said, well, man, got the call. I got a COVID. It's like, what the fuck? You got COVID? What the fuck? And And I said, damn, how the hell did you get it? And he said, well, process of elimination. I got it from a ATM machine in Baltimore. And I just was like, holy fucking shit. So I was picking his brain because, I mean, I got to be honest with you. I get asked all the time, too, at work. I don't know how it is for most of you guys. Justin, I don't know if you can attest to this as well. I see you in the chat, by the way. Hey, brother. But, usually I'll get a question at least twice a week for sure at my job. You know anybody with the COVID? I don't know anybody. And so as a result of, I don't know anybody, it's one of those, it doesn't exist. It's just paranoia. That is legitimately, I know, as stupid as that may sound to you guys that's hearing that, there are just actually people that, Chuck Woolery is a good example of that. Chuck Woolery, who was a longtime host for the Love Connection and all that, he is a great example of that. He thought that the whole COVID was just something just created from thin air. He just thought it was imaginary. It was just a bunch of bullshit. And I believe it was his son that got diagnosed with COVID. And I mean, Chuck Woolery was just all throughout social media, just before his son got diagnosed. He was just, that's bogus. It's a bunch of bullshit, blah, 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 blah. And then once his son got diagnosed with the COVID, rather than use this as an opportunity to tell his fans, tell everybody throughout social media, hey, more people really need to educate themselves. Doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. Hey, the comments I had made right before my son got diagnosed, very naive on my part. I should have educated myself much more, but I did not. I failed to not. And, who knows? I'm not sure if he's a religious man, if he's somebody that follows the faith or what, but kind of a weird, sick twist there. Yeah, they sometimes say God has a cruel sense of humor, but however you want to sum that up, that would have been a really good moment for him to take what had happened with his son, use it as a teachable moment because whether he realizes or not, and that's the other thing with these athletes, with these celebrities, anybody that has some type of reach through media. I don't care if you're a blogger. I don't care if you're a vlogger, if you're a podcaster, a radio host, athlete. I don't care what you are, but when you are basically working in the media industry, whether you like it or not, you are a social influencer. And this would have been a really good teachable moment right here for Chuck Woolery to bestow upon his fans, followers, and all of that, and try to get them on the correct path of thinking when it comes to this whole COVID shit. But rather than take advantage of an opportunity such as that, Chuck Woolery just ghosts, deleted his social media pages and all that. Like, okay, so you're just going to run from it. Okay. Are you going to run away from it? All right, whatever. It is what it is. But I gotta say, to hear that, somebody that I know essentially got hit with that, it's whoa. And so he got the phone call and they told him he had it and he's self-quarantining, and luckily youth is on his side. And so luckily the only symptoms he's having right now is allergy symptoms, so hopefully it stays that way for you. And that's just crazy. So moral of the story, I know that we got a lot of people out there that I don't see what all this is about. All this stuff in the air, all this craziness, I just don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. Everybody's just blowing a gasket for nothing, blah, 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 blah. Look, I was watching the news earlier today, and apparently, I want to say it was out in Southeast DC. Some band, I don't know if they were a go-go band or what, but they had decided, and you guys that live in the DMV, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. There was a band that decided over the weekend, you know what? Weather's nice. This is a good opportunity to get our music out there, get ourselves over, blah, that, blah, that. So they put out a thing on social media talking about, hey, come to this spot in Southeast. We're going to be playing our music. Going to be a good time. Like, okay, all right. You had a lot of people in the neighborhood that were complaining about not only the noise level that was happening where this event was going on, but a lot of people were also phoning in the police saying, hey, what is going on here? You got all of these people that are together. Nobody's wearing a mask. What the fuck is going on? Nobody's wearing a mask. And the way DC got things set up, if I'm not mistaken, you can have about, I think it's 15, 20 something people. You know, if you're doing like a get together or whatever, that's like the max. Don't quote me on that, but it's definitely under 50. Well, there was obviously more than 50 people that were at this event over the weekend. None of the people got in trouble. It was crazy. It was crazy because I'm watching this report. I was watching this on News 4, and they were talking about how News 4. They talked about how they had reached out to DC police to figure out, hey, you know, why didn't you guys try to disrupt this? You know, not quite sure we understand. You know, why wasn't this disbanded? You know, obviously these people weren't wearing their masks. They weren't practicing safe distancing. You know, why did you guys allow this to happen? They couldn't get an official statement from DC police. Yeah, no shit, because it makes them look really bad. Kind of like those that were in charge of making sure Jeffrey Epstein didn't fucking off himself. Well, we see how that panned out now, don't we? Kind of like one of those type of deals. Then they tried to reach out to the band that decided, oh, we're going to throw this little shindig together. Keep in mind, this band was supposed to get a permit. They were supposed to get a permit to be able to do the little performance that they had. Have this little get together where they had it over the weekend, and they failed to do so. So, if you're thinking about things from a fine standpoint, yeah, they can definitely be hit up with some fines. But in any case, News 4 tried to reach out to the band to find out, hey, you know, you guys operated without a permit. You know, why did you guys not go through the proper channels, get a permit? Was this a case of you guys weren't aware that you had to get a permit? Why weren't you all that decided you wanted to organize this event? Why did you all not try to practice, hey, everybody that's coming, make sure you're wearing your mask. Anybody that's not wearing a mask, we're going to have enough people that's going to, you know, make sure that y'all do have masks, but if you refuse to wear a mask, you got to go. Why wasn't there any type of enforcement on the band's part? The band, no comment. Hard to reach, couldn't get a hold of them. There was somebody else that News 4 had tried to get a hold of that was somehow connected to this as well. And basically, they couldn't reach anybody for comments. It was hilarious, the most hilarious thing. So, can't stress it enough, people. Practice your social distancing. That is it in a nutshell. Practice your social distancing. Hey, cool. Got a new subscriber. Welcome. And by the way, while we're live for the next little bit, if you guys want to come in with the super chats, that is greatly appreciated. We do take super chats. By the way, I'm working on some new gifts and some other cool things. Depending on the level of the super chat that you do, you'll see some really cool little animations and things like that. I'm going to have that slowly rolling in the coming weeks. But yeah, in a nutshell, practice social distancing. I cannot stress it enough. Wear the mask. Wear the fucking mask. I cannot stress it enough. Now, wear the mask, but be sensible to the type of mask that you wear. Do not be like those knuckleheads at that fucking Walmart. I'm sure you guys heard about that. It was in Minnesota, and I know residents in Minnesota are better than the fucking knuckleheads than the couple in Minnesota that ended up being barred from Walmart because they were wearing Nazi swastika mask inside Walmart. If you guys don't know anything about that story, look that up. That should just make your mouth drop right there. But yeah, Yeah, I'm just amazed that they did not catch a fucking beatdown. By the way, kudos to that fucking cashier who continued to do their job and ring those motherfuckers up. My man, you got some serious restraint. Because if that would have been my black ass or anybody else for that matter, fuck you, not servicing you. And, you know, not for nothing, I've never had it to that level. But when I was working in retail in earlier years, I remember an instance where, true story, I've told this story once before, not a long-winded story. Indulge me for about 3 minutes tops. It's kind of similar to this Minnesota couple, but it's not. So I remember I was in my early 20s. I was working at a Costco. And there was a white dad and his son. His son was probably about, I would say his son was probably about maybe 8, maybe 9 years old. And the dad decided, oh, you know what the house needs, especially in our backyard? We need a swimming pool. So you could buy stuff like that in Costco. You guys know that. I don't know how it is now, but back then, you know, if you felt like you wanted to buy a pool, one of those build-it-yourself pools or whatever, you know, Costco, Sam's Club, they had that shit. Definitely Costco had that shit. So, you know, he's got this big-ass flat U-boat, and he's got everything in boxes, you know, in different installments, different sets and all that. And he's got that and some other stuff. I'm ringing him up. And as I'm looking for, you know, okay, where's the barcode for this thing? You know, heaven forbid the barcode's not totally visible and you actually gotta fucking flip something as heavy as that over somehow to be able to see the barcode. Yeah, you're gonna be feeling it in your back for sure. Anyway, the son is looking at something. He's looking at the logo for the pool, and it's a cartoon gorilla. And the dad says to his son, "Yeah, son, that's a gorilla, just like this cashier here that's ringing us up." And I didn't blow up on this cashier. I just said, oh, you know, excuse me one second. And I went and, you know, I flagged down the supervisor. And I told the supervisor, I said, dude, I'm not ringing up that racist piece of shit. Me and my supervisor were cool, so I could just real talk with him. Real fucking cool. And I said, I'm not ringing up that racist piece of shit. And I told him what had happened. He's like, okay, all right, you go cool off. Take about 5 minutes. I'll finish up that order. And I'll just come back in about 5 minutes and I'll be done with him. I'm like, all right, cool. And that's how that went. So trust me when I say, if those motherfuckers with their little swastika mask would have came up to my ass, like, nah, I ain't ringing your asses up. Fuck that. I ain't ringing your asses up. So for that cashier to show that type of restraint that they had, and who says that retail ain't hard? Who says retail ain't hard? No, retail is a bitch to work in. Predominantly any form of hospitality. If you're dealing in some form in customer service, the hospitality industry, it's a bitch to work in. So yeah, that cashier though, he is my unsung hero for this week. Great restraint. Kudos to you, my friend. Kudos to you. But yeah, please guys, wear your fucking mask. Cannot stress that enough. Take this shit seriously. If you don't take this shit seriously, the gods can be cruel. That's all I gotta say. The gods can be cruel. So, Raw tonight, a couple of interesting developments. So, we got a new women's champion in Sasha Banks. It's official now. It's official. New women's champion, Sasha Banks. We possibly may have seen Kairi Sane for one of the last times. And good night, Justin, man. Rest up. Get all the rest you need, man. Get all the rest you need. All the rest you need. But yeah, fucking new women's champion. Fucking Sasha Banks. Gotta say, that was a phenomenal fucking match. It's a great fucking match. Loved it. Fucking loved it. I ate it up. I liked seeing what they were doing off and on for the past couple of weeks now. Gotta be consistent. That's the word I've been using a lot in 2020 is consistent. Consistency. Gotta be consistent. Another classic matchup that the girls had. I didn't particularly care for the finish, though. Gotta be honest with you. I did not particularly care for the finish. It was almost what I was watching tonight between these two women who I respect tremendously. It was almost as if what I was watching tonight was just this beautiful masterpiece of a painting that was playing out right before my very eyes on canvas. And just such fine painted strokes, just the fine detail. Everything was just, oh man, great shit. It's good shit, good stuff. And then at the very end, it's just, I know I'm almost finished with this. I'm just gonna put on a big old glob of shit right here and stick this shit right here and we're just gonna call it done. There you go, take it. That's what the ending felt like to me. It really threw me off. Made me sour on the match a little bit, but I still gotta give that match a lot of praise. Despite the finish, a lot of fuckery there. I'll say this much. From a character development standpoint, I love the fact that the writers went into this match basically saying Asuka cares more about her friendship, her bond, her sisterhood. She cares about all of those things with Kairi Sane than the match against Sasha Banks for the title. To the point, Asuka, pretty much, she's pretty much got Sasha Banks beat. But she's seeing on the Titantron Bayley beating the shit out of Kairi Sane. And she was actually continuing on with the match. I'm looking at this and I'm going, okay, this is an interesting development here. We got Asuka that's powering through. She's trying to go through with this match. She keeps looking up at the Titantron, though. She's trying to see what's going on with her girl. But she's trying to soldier through this match. Okay, so she's going with the title over her friend. Oh, okay, all right, cool, interesting. And I looked at that and I just said, okay, so Asuka is not going to waver from this. She's going to continue to stay on this match. And if anything, and you could see and feel too, from a TV standpoint, as a viewer, you could feel the sense of urgency as Asuka was trying to wrap this match up when she was seeing what was going on via Titantron. But then it just got to a point where the insult to injury of Kairi was just too much for Asuka to bear witness to, and she just had to abandon the match, run backstage. And remember how Stephanie McMahon has set this up last week. She basically said, look, this title, it can change hands on a count out. It can change hands on a disqualification. We definitely need to have a decisive victor, but, at the same time, hey, y'all can't be at ringside. So, it was laid out quite nicely, but I still didn't particularly care for that kind of a finish. But to see the power of, and using my fingers for quotations here, to see the power of friendship in full display here, I did like that. And not to mention, if we got all the reports that's floating around saying that this possibly is it for Kairi Sane. Now look, a couple of weeks ago we had thought we saw the last of Kairi Sane, and then she popped up on WWE programming, and oh wow, okay, cool. You notice I didn't really talk about that. I didn't really feed into that. My whole thing was, well, until WWE says something and or until Kairi Sane says something, we just kind of need to take what we're seeing and hearing with a grain of salt. But the report that's floating around in the wrestling world is basically Kairi Sane's contract, it's pretty much expired, and that WWE is trying very hard to work out some type of a new deal with her. We've heard for the longest time that she wants to go back to Japan. She wants to enjoy her married life. I mean, the girl just got married not that long ago, and she's barely had time to enjoy being married. She's barely had time to enjoy her husband. So, I mean, if that's how she's feeling right now, hey, more power to her. More power to her. Now, some of you hear that and you may be saying to yourselves, why not just live in the US? That's a very good question. I think if you're in a position where you could ask Kairi Sane that question, what is it about the US that she doesn't like, just to the point of, hey, I want to stay here in the US? Why doesn't she move herself and her family into the US? Who knows? Maybe it could tie into the whole pandemic thing. Maybe it could tie into who's in the office right now and their policies and how they're handling immigration and other stuff. Not to go down that rabbit hole, but just to kind of get your gears in motion a little bit as far as why maybe she's decided, yeah, I'm good. I don't need to try to find a place here in the US of A. I'll just go back to Japan. Whatever the case may be, the report is she wants to go back to Japan. So WWE is trying to figure out how they can somehow keep her in WWE. Whether it's under some type of a new contract, maybe they can give her more money and she can keep doing these dates, or since WWE is trying to do their thing, launching in Japan, because before all of this pandemic shit had broke out, I mean, WWE, WWE Mexico, WWE Japan, WWE Africa, and this is what they were working on basically. And this pandemic, no doubt, has put a little bit of a monkey wrench into those plans. So time will tell as far as what the future holds for Kairi Sane with the WWE. Only time will tell. So we just got to wait and see how everything plays out. But for all intents and purposes, what we saw tonight was essentially a nice way to get Kairi Sane off of TV until WWE can kind of figure something out, if they're able to figure anything out with her. Now, keep in mind that she did do a match. I think it was taped for Main Event. I don't know if we're going to be seeing that maybe this week or if it's already played out. There was one bonus little thing that she did for the WWE that was already in the books as of last week or the week before. So kind of have that in the back of your mind. I tell you what though, Kairi Sane afterwards, when they came back from the commercial break, not Kairi Sane, Asuka is who I was thinking of. Forgive me there, guys. Backstage, we saw Asuka pretty pissed off, extremely pissed off. I mean, she was talking a good old hot mess in her native language, and hell have no fury like Asuka scorned. Asuka just looks as though she is getting ready to tap into some type of a touch of evil. I mean, she looks like she's going into a sadistic mode, and you don't want to be in her path. If that's all I gotta say. I kind of like what was going on with her in that fucking mean streak. So, kind of seems like the way things are developing right now, maybe it's gonna be Sasha Banks, Asuka rematch for the title at SummerSlam. It looks as though that's the direction we could be heading in. And I honestly would be okay with that. Doesn't look like Charlotte Flair is going to be coming back just yet. Would be nice to have her back into the fold again. Honestly, I don't mind Sasha. I'm sorry, not Sasha. Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair is who I was thinking of there. It doesn't look like we're going to be seeing Charlotte Flair anytime soon. And look, I got to be honest. I don't mind seeing Flair off of TV for this little bit of time. I don't mind that because it makes the heart grow fonder. You feel where I'm coming from? And it's just kind of one of those type of deals. It's perfect scenario. Perfect scenario. If you have a significant other, you love that significant other without a shadow of doubt. You would do anything for them. Quote the Prince song, I would die for you. Yeah. Darling, if you want me to. All right. You love them tremendously. But, especially during these pandemic times, there comes a point where you go, okay, I'm tired of these four walls. I'm not tired of my significant other, but I am tired of these four walls and, need to do something. Need to do something. Anything. Need to get out. Maybe hang out with some friends or, just go to the mall. Do something by myself for a little bit. So you're able to do that. And, while you're away, it does kind of make the heart grow a little bit fonder of, hey, I can't wait to get home because I can't wait to do this. With my significant other, I can't wait to do this when I get home. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So for me, not seeing Charlotte, look, Charlotte has been a workhorse for a good period of time now. I don't mind her having this little break right now. My whole thing is, all right, who else is going to step up? At this time right now where there's no Becky Lynch, while there's no Charlotte Flair, there's no Ronda Rousey, who's stepping up? So, doesn't look like Flair is going to be back just yet, although things could happen, but the way it's looking right now, doesn't seem like she's going to be back by SummerSlam. We got Nia Jax. Nia Jax, we hadn't seen her on WWE programming in a good minute. We finally saw her resurface, and she's looking to claim some gold. Shayna Baszler, taking a little bit of a offense to that. Long story short, we see these two girls. They end up brawling. Hey, sounds good to me on paper. I like that. And the way things ended with them, first you got the brawl, and then a couple of segments later, all right, now we're going to try to go into this official match with these girls. Let's see what's going to happen. The match never really saw its proper start. Definitely did not get a proper middle and finish because Nia Jax was just causing all kinds of shenanigans in and around the ring. Manhandling a couple of officials, some male personnel of the WWE payroll or whatever. So I kind of liked all of that was going on there. So the way things are looking right there, SummerSlam looks like Nia Jax, Baszler gonna be locking up. Down with that. Can we maybe sweeten the pot a little bit with that? Can we maybe kind of, winner of that match becomes the new number one contender and they can go for whichever title? Can we maybe kind of get something like that? That's one thing that you got to have in the back of your mind. But have this in the back of your mind as well, guys. Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, women tag team champions. That very well could also happen. I gotta tell you, the pairing of those two, I don't know about y'all, but it's very alluring to me. I immediately thought about that as soon as I saw these two girls brawling. I said, hey, these two look like they would not only have a really great feud together, but just imagine in storyline if both of these women can be on the same page with one another and they decide they want to go after some tag team gold. That's a pretty dominating tag team right there. You really stop and think about it. The unstoppable force, or no, I'm sorry, the irresistible force known as Nia Jax, whatever she's calling herself, and the Queen of Spades and Shayna Baszler. Nice matchup. I gotta tell you, nice matchup. So that was pretty good. What happened right there? MVP of the night, not MVP. Although his segment was okay. It was okay. He's starting to grow on me as a manager now with everything that he's doing with Shelton Benjamin, Lashley, and all that. But he was not my MVP of the night, even though he has those initials. No, my MVP of the night was fucking Dominic. Because once again, we get the boring ass. And I gotta say this as I'm setting this up. So feel me for a second here. we get this boring ass, once again, segment with Seth Rollins. And I'm sorry, Seth Rollins, I've said it constantly. I've been consistent about this over the years. There's not a week that goes by I don't find myself saying he's great in the ring. I don't have a problem with him in the ring. But the shit that's going on with my man with these promos is hot garbage. And the shit that he was spewing tonight was just fucking hot garbage. And at about this time, I literally felt myself dozing off. I felt myself ready to go to sleep. And I get somebody that's basically reading the hashtags.
I mean, he said you don't want it. You change the channel.
And it's like, well, nobody said, motherfucker, that you had to go out of your way to look through a fucking hashtag to see what people are talking about and put up the same goddamn little stupid message over and over and over again. I can't even remember the name of this guy's handle, but if you go on my Twitter page, you can see the screenshot that I took. This guy was literally going through the fucking Raw hashtag, seeing what people were saying about the show, and was just putting out that same fucking stupid statement. It's like, I'm sorry, but unless you've actually taken the time out to, well, wait a minute, before I jump the gun here, let me just see what's going on with, this person's Twitter feed about this particular product. Well, what did they think about this segment? Well, what did they think about that segment? Or, at that point, the show for me, up until when Rollins came out, the show was decently okay. But once Seth Rollins came out, I mean, it was like the Titanic. It was just crashing all of a sudden. And it was putting me to fucking sleep. Tears and sleep with fucking Rollins out there. Jesus Christ, I tell you what. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm done with this. I'm done with this. So, people, if you decide you want to follow me on Twitter, cool. Be engaging. Try to go back and forth. But if you're just going to be a lurker, and I don't like that. And shout out to Trez, because Trez pretty much had hit me to what was going on there. Which, this is basically just a troll. When it was all said and done, it was just a troll. But it's like, if you gotta, who's really pressed here? The person that's giving their comments about what they think about a particular segment, or the person that is searching and searching and searching through the hashtags? It's kind of crazy right there. But no, Seth Rollins was just not doing it for me. But Dominic was the fucking MVP. I mean, there was only so many times I could hear,
Now, Dominic, take it easy, Dominic, think about your father, Dominic, think about your father. Just want to talk to you, Dominic, just get in the ring, Dominic, nobody's gonna hurt you, Dominic, no need to fight, Dominic, just get in the ring, Dominic, come on, Dominic. It's okay, Dominic. You're among friends, Dominic. Everything's gonna be alright, Dominic. Just listen, Dominic.
Who would want to change the fucking channel after hearing that long ass? It's like, somewhere in here, there's a point to this segment. Dominic saved that fucking segment. He didn't really say much. I love the fact that he had that little touch of a stubble. He kind of came out there looking like he was a worried young man concerned about his father. The retribution that he had in his eyes. I mean, he sold all of that well. And then to just proceed to try to kick the living shit out of Murphy and Rollins. Love that. But then Murphy, Rollins, get the one up on Dominic for a little bit. And you're going, oh, okay. So, this is nice. This is pretty much gonna end with them getting the upper hand on fucking Dominic once again. Okay, that's just fucking great. That's just fucking great. But then Aleister Black comes out. You're like, oh, hey, cool, Aleister Black, sweet. And just as quick as you get excited that Aleister Black is out there and he's trying to back up his man, fucking, well, not even his man, but, you know, he's trying to back up the kid. He's trying to back up Dominic. Just as quick as he gets out there, wham, he's on his ass. And for me, wait a minute now. Come on now. Since when is Aleister Black starting to come off like a crash test dummy? I mean, that's literally what's been going on with fucking Aleister Black. I mean, he's literally like coming off like a crash test dummy now. It's like we stay seeing this. I mean, just picture this. You've got this guy in Aleister Black that has this wicked ass look. You talk about a kick ass, wicked ass look. He looks like if fucking Lemmy from Motorhead had fucked the shit out of Charles Manson, and they had a fucking menage a trois, and fucking Satan was in that menage a trois with them, and the fucking child to manifest from that is Aleister fucking Black. So you got this kick-ass looking dude in Aleister Black, kick-ass tattoos, and he's got the whole crazy-ass music going on. You know, he's got all that shit going on. You're like, oh man, this dude ain't nobody to be trifled with. You know, oh fuck this dude. This dude will kick your ass. I mean, he might just fucking put his fingers in your eyeball and do some Kill Bill shit or whatever. Like, you don't want to fuck with this dude. Pull your eyeball out. Put some salt and pepper on that motherfucker and you know, tasty. You don't want to fuck with him. You know, but what I've been seeing of the utilization of Aleister Black these past couple of weeks, I've seen him on programming. Yeah, he's getting his ass handed to him. He's been suffering more beatdowns than dishing out the beatdowns. That's a significant problem there. Very weird. It really was. I would have preferred it if Dominic, having the good, strong performance that he had, I would have preferred it if he would have been getting owned. But then Aleister Black, you know, him essentially being the veteran, comes to Dominic's aid. And then essentially you kind of have like a Batman and Robin moment where Aleister Black says to Dominic, you know, look, kid, I got a lot of respect for your dad and everything he's done for the business and everything. I gotta tell you, there's no way you're gonna be able to win this war against Rollins and Murphy and whoever else he may be aligned with by yourself. Yeah, I would have loved to see something like that come about where he's trying to give this kid Dominic advice. And you could have kind of let that play out for a couple of weeks where Dominic is just being the hothead or whatever. And he's just trying to, all he's got on his mind is avenging his father. That's it in a nutshell. But yeah, the way they played it out tonight was just, But Dominic still came out of that as the MVP. Because even though he didn't really say anything, if at all, I mean, he went into that with such intensity. He sold really fucking well. I love the fact that he grabbed the kendo stick and he was just wailing on both of their asses. I love that. Fucking love that. Good shit. Good fucking shit. Loved it. Good fucking shit. Let's see here. Other than that, let's see here. Give me 1 second here. I'm just checking out something here. I really got to do a better job with the Discord. I know just because I plug Discord, I know some of you guys are like, oh, Discord. It's like, nah, if you got the Twitter and all that, start off with the Twitter. Go with the Twitter and then go from there. That's the best advice I can give you. Don't just pop up in the Discord just to pop up in the Discord. I'm saying that to newer listeners, maybe newer fans of the show. Don't just pop up in Discord just to be popping up in Discord. You really want to build a good rapport, I recommend, if you got Twitter, or even YouTube, if you're checking out the shows with YouTube, do it that way. There will come a time where I will integrate Discord more into the show. I can tell you this right now. When I get ready to do so, that's mainly going to be for our Patreon members. But as it stands right now, with regards to Discord, I just, it's kind of touch and go. It's kind of touch and go. But rather than come into the Discord and try to single me out, the other best advice I can give to you is interact with everybody else. You can definitely, hey, what's up? But try to be more interactive with everybody else. I'm flattered if you try to go into the Discord just for me, but understand something. And I think those that also interact with me in the Discord, they'll tell you I'm more of a DM type person when it comes to Discord. That's just me. I don't really post like that openly in the Discord. I'm trying to more. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I kind of did that little bit of a sidebar because somebody new had popped up in the Discord. And sadly, when you pop up in the Discord and I don't know the connection and, I don't know nothing about you, you go into that pool called the Great Unknown. The Great Unknown. That's where you fucking end up going. So don't go into the Great Unknown. That's the last place you want to go. Instead, you want to try to make yourself stand out a little bit more. Anything else from Raw tonight I want to get into? Just looking at the rest of the card here before we get ready to move on. Just trying to see if there's anything else. The tag team match. Ricochet, Alexander losing to... See, who came out of that as the winner? Angel Garza and Andrade. They picked up the W from that. It was a triple threat match. Ricochet, Alexander taking on Viking Raiders, Andrade, Angel Garza. Pretty good tag match. Damn good tag match. It was a good matchup. It was good. I'm still a little bit confused though, which is WWE writers, they've spent all these weeks building up this tension that was going on between Andrade and Angel Garza. And now, all of a sudden, this is the payoff. Is that these guys are now the number one contenders and they're going to be facing the Street Profits for the tag titles. I'm assuming that's SummerSlam. It's weird because, it keeps getting teased for weeks. Teased and teased and teased. And now all of a sudden, it just felt like what we were watching tonight, it was just completely abandoned. I hope that's not really the case. And I hope that things will maybe collide. It's going to reach its proper explosion at SummerSlam. That's just me. Otherwise, it's kind of weird when it's all said and done. Other than that, just looking at the rest of the card here. Yeah, I didn't care for the squash match that Bobby Lashley had. I got to tell you something. Mustafa Ali taking on Bobby Lashley. I did not particularly care for that. Mustafa Ali, this young man just came back. He just came back, like literally last week. And you feed him to Bobby Lashley. And, I call a squash match a squash match. For me, it was essentially a squash match. Some of you may say, but Lee, it went about 12 minutes, 13, 14, 15 minutes. I say that's just much too long. But I really wasn't feeling that. I did not like the fact that match went that fucking long. But, I will say this. Ali sold like a motherfucker to Lashley. I will fucking give him that. He did his best to make Lashley look like a fucking juggernaut. Speaking of which, I got to get back into my game because I'm trying to level up Juggernaut. Let's see, what else we got here? Other than that, Buddy Murphy defeating Alberto Carrillo. Nothing much there. The Extreme Rules match closing out Monday Night Raw. Yeah, sorry if I spoiled it for you guys. McIntyre revealed his little stipulation for this match against Drew McIntyre. See, I thought they were going to be doing something at SummerSlam. No. What's ending up happening at SummerSlam, Randy Orton, he pretty much kicked off Monday Night Raw, issuing a challenge to Drew McIntyre to go one-on-one for the championship. Drew McIntyre later on in the night would accept. Then he gets to this match with Dolph Ziggler and all the stipulations that you can come up with in the world. And you just come up with a Extreme Rules match. I mean, me personally, I was expecting for Drew McIntyre to, come on out there and say, "Sold, Dolph, buddy, here's the match you and me are gonna be having. Here's the stipulation. I'm gonna be kicking your ass while your dick is in a goat." I was expecting maybe something of that nature. Or, "Drew, after I get done kicking your ass, here's the stipulation. When I win, you're done. No more Dolph Ziggler in the WWE. You ain't gonna be able to run your little sweet ass to SmackDown. You're not gonna be able to go run in the NXT. You're not gonna be able to go run in the NXT UK or NXT Japan. None of that. You're done." I was expecting some type of a stipulation along those lines. Something quite fucking heavy. And all we basically get is, "I'm gonna do to you like you did to me. At Extreme Rules, I'm gonna use that same gimmick match against you." Oh, gee, thanks. That was just... He is really starting to become the... I said it earlier on Twitter. I'm trying to think what I had said there. It was funny too. He is really becoming the great value version of John Cena. He really, really is. He really, really is. I hope going into SummerSlam, Orton gets it. Everything is just clicking with Orton right now. He is just hot on so many fucking levels. I'm loving fucking Orton. Orton is the fucking man. So I'm hoping Orton just fucking takes that son of a bitch, because I'm fucking tired of great value Cena. That's just me. I don't know how you guys feel. By the way, I did ask you guys on Twitter. We're going to keep it simple tonight. I asked you guys, what did you think about Raw? Oops. Hang on a second here, guys. I got to log back into Twitter here on my tablet, because I had recently changed passwords here. I just like freshening it up. Bear with me 1 second here, guys. And we will go to that poll. Okay, now log in. Thank you. Alright, let's see here. And that was the last tweet I put out too. Alright, as you guys, what did you think about Raw right now? Yeah, I agree with you guys. I definitely agree with you guys. 14% gave Raw a thumbs down. Meanwhile, 86% are giving it a thumbs up. I agree. I agree with those numbers. You guys are very accurate. Very fucking accurate. I agree with that. The hell is this? The hell is this? Seeing something else new here on Twitter. Give me a second here. Okay, alright, cool. Anyway, one cool thing I had enjoyed about Raw as well tonight, the nice little touching montage tribute that they did for Regis Philbin. Great shit. Love that. Nice little touch. Man, I can remember growing up on Regis. For me, it was Regis and Kathy Lee. So, you gotta go back to the 80s on that one. And I don't want to bore you guys with just the history of Regis Philbin. I know for you younger listeners, you younger fans of wrestling, that may be a name that honestly didn't quite register for you when you were coming up by the time you started paying attention to wrestling or whatever. But I tell you what, this guy was beloved on so many levels. Had tons of fans, different age, backgrounds, race, the whole 9 yards. He tapped into every single demo, and he passed away over the weekend. Nice ripe age. Look, at least we can walk away and say, hey, at least the COVID didn't get him, as far as we know. At least the COVID did not get him. But he lived a nice, long, fruitful life. You can live basically well into your late 80s, basically. That's a damn good run. So, it's sad that he's passed, but when you think about it from that standpoint, it's, well, yeah, at least he never dealt with what Alex Trebek is dealing with right now, with that form of cancer that he has. And, knock on wood, he just celebrated an 80th birthday. And, a recent interview that he gave, Alex Trebek was saying that his wife has really been the determining factor, the motivation that's been having him continue to go fight the disease and everything. And seems like he's kicking the cancer's ass so far, but one day at a time, right? But at least you can look at Regis and you can say, okay, at least he didn't get taken down by some form of fucking cancer, because cancer just fucking sucks. Or it wasn't a freakish, horrible automobile accident or whatever, or he died in pain because he got hit with the COVID. At least it wasn't any of that shit. But this is a man, I tell you, when I first had found out about his passing, the first thing that really had came to my mind was, for an older guy, he was very, very hip to whatever was going on in pop culture. I mean, he had his fucking finger on the pulse. And he loved pro wrestling. He loved pro wrestling. And I really want to bring that home. When I say Regis Philbin loved pro wrestling and that he was a pro wrestling fan, I ain't talking about that type of shit where, you see Howard Stern do a fucking interview, or you see Joe Rogan, and, and then once they have that wrestler on the show, the other 364 days out of the year, they're doing tongue-in-cheek humor. And if you like watching other men wrestle each other in tights, I'm sorry, you're a... cue up the Archie Bunker joint. You're use that line. Like, no, that wasn't Regis. That wasn't Regis at all. I'm sure you guys, you older fans especially, I'm sure you guys have seen your fair share of some of your favorite wrestlers going on whatever show. And, oh man, yeah, this guy's kind of come off like a dick. You didn't see... I mean, Bill Maher is like the ultimate... If there was an asshole that just, oh, fuck you. Look up politically incorrect with Bill Maher. Look up the infamous panel joint he had where Roddy Piper was on there, and look up when Bill Maher was taking his little cheap shots at pro wrestling. And look at how Roddy Piper was coming after his ass. Regis Philbin did not operate like that. I would say from when I was growing up, there was two guys that stood out to me the most, that for the most part, they did a pretty good job in not only showing their love, their affection for the wrestling business, but also respected what the men and women were doing in that ring and everything, and the whole kayfabe and all that. Regis was one of those guys. Arsenio Hall was another one. Anybody that remembers Arsenio Hall back in the day, Arsenio Hall stayed fucking having wrestlers come by his show and everything. So he was another one that he got it, he understood it, and he was down with it. But when you go back, not to give a whole fucking biography on Regis Philbin, but I mean, he just wore so many hats when he was coming up in Hollywood and all that. At one point, he worked for The Tonight Show. I mean, long before Johnny Carson had came into play and everything. And, he basically had worked behind the scenes. He worked as a reporter. He really had got his true break, though, out in San Diego, California. When he had a little syndicated show, and he was years ahead of his time. He would do these things where he would talk to his announcer, his show announcer. He would engage with people in the audience. He would talk to them, very similar to how he would end up doing things on Regis, Live with Regis and Kathy Lee. He would operate very similar to that fashion when he was doing his show early there in San Diego. And it was good. It was a hit. Now, it was while he was doing that show out in San Diego and some other stuff, he ended up becoming friends with Freddie Blassie, WWE Hall of Famer, WWE alumni, Freddie Blassie. And that was a friendship that lasted for many years, right on up until Freddie had died. And you could kind of say that was one of his ways of really getting into the business even further and, being connected to it even more and everything. And so this was a guy, you go on YouTube, you go on Daily Motion. I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, John Cena, Hulk Hogan, Undertaker, Kurt Angle when he had hair. One of my all-time favorite interviews that he did, and I actually had posted it on the Facebook page, was when Undertaker and Paul Bearer had came by Regis and Kathy Lee. Hilarious. Just fucking hilarious. But another interview that stood out to me back in the day when I was a huge fan of the soap series One Life to Live. I had loved Roger Howarth as Todd Manning. Just a villain you love to hate. I mean, the ultimate fucking villain. And it's amazing because just like how he was acting on that show, sometimes when I look at Michael Rosenbaum's performance as Lex Luthor on Smallville, and I think those of you that know your soaps, you watch Smallville, you would definitely agree. You see the connection. Michael Rosenbaum's performance as Lex Luthor, it reminds you so much of Todd Manning there from Roger Howarth. But I remember there was an infamous interview that Roger Howarth had gave. Back at this time, Roger was giving out interviews left and right. I mean, left and right. But the icing on the cake, the tipping of the iceberg, was when he did this one appearance on Regis and Kathy Lee. And pretty much after that, you never really saw Roger Howarth give interviews again. And it was because there was starting to become a mutiny amongst his own fans, because the fans just kind of felt, he's being a little too outspoken. We don't particularly care about his ideology or his thoughts on this. And, he's too outspoken. We just want him to act, and that's pretty much it. And so essentially, that's what he had stuck to. Another infamous interview I remember that Regis had did was with Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins. Smashing Pumpkins had performed on the show and everything. And then when it came time to do the interview, I'm sure it's not one of Billy Corgan's fondest moments, but Billy Corgan was so fucking shy. He was so fucking quiet during that interview. Regis was trying his damnedest to get Billy and the Pumpkins over, but I don't know what it was with Billy. I don't know if he was starstruck. I don't know what the fuck it was, but Billy wasn't, it just wasn't clicking like that. And you're like, what the fuck? It's like, come on, man. You're on the fucking Regis show. Like, you fucking made it. Like, come on, dude. You fucking made it. But for whatever respected reason, it didn't click. You know, but his first TV exposure, it came on the Joey Bishop show, where he was the longtime sidekick for Joey Bishop. And he's had his hands dipped into Hollywood, you know, many years. But he loved his pro wrestling so much so that recently, I think yesterday, as a matter of fact, if not earlier today, of all people, Dave Meltzer had dropped a huge bombshell, which was many times over the years, Regis Philbin had hit up Dave Meltzer as he was trying to get some information, because it turns out Regis was actually an Observer newsletter subscriber. And many times Regis would reach out to Dave and they would talk about all the different types of things that was happening in the wrestling industry and everything. And Dave said for a good amount of years, they had tried to work something out where they could somehow come together and do a show. But for whatever respected reason, it never materialized. That would have been something. That really would have been something. But yeah, this is guy, you know, I know the way WWE had tried to paint it, you know, as far as you know, he had this appearance at this WrestleMania, and you know, he popped in during Raw 1000, but it you know, and he interviewed all the wrestlers on this show. I mean, all that is true, but he had the type of reputation where if there was a wrestling event that was going on, you know, wherever he lived or wherever he worked, he would just appear just to appear. He wasn't appearing looking to be recorded. He wasn't appearing to, you know, look for a payday, because he was just there because when it was all said and done, he was a true wrestling fan. So, you know, we lost a good one right there. We lost a good ambassador. That's the point that I'm trying to make to you guys, is we lost a really good ambassador for the wrestling industry. But definitely, he always had his finger on the pulse. Always had his finger on the pulse. All things pop culture, all things entertainment, he somehow always had his finger on the pulse. And let me tell you something. I remember when I was a kid growing up, going into the 80s, the 90s. And let me tell you something. Let it be a case where I had the day off from school. You know, maybe I'm on a holiday break or some shit like that. I used to love watching Regis and Kathy Lee. I loved it. I did not particularly care for Kathy Lee. I just was like, yeah, you know, I'll tolerate you, but I don't really care for you. I care about Regis. I didn't particularly care when Regis had his wife on the show whenever Kathy Lee wasn't there. I didn't particularly, you know, care for her. My whole thing was Regis. It was all about Regis. He was just so charismatic. He was very witty, very insightful. I mean, his time, he was very fucking quick-witted. I'm telling you, with all he was able to do in the entertainment industry, man, if he really wanted to, and he wanted to go into wrestling, I think he would have been a phenomenal manager. Especially since he had a good friend and Classy Freddie Blassie. I think he would have been fucking awesome as a fucking manager. I still remember the tug of war with Yokozuna too. That was actually a funny ass moment too on Live with Regis. But yeah, he always had his fucking finger on the pulse. But yeah, anytime I used to be able to watch him, especially during those summer breaks, I was right there. 9 a.m. Eastern every day. Originally, I remember it was on ABC. And then there was a short period there where it was on Fox, and then it went back to ABC. I'm talking about out here in the DC metropolitan area. For the longest amount of years out here, Live with Regis, it was on ABC. And then when he went to go do Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I mean, that's where things had really, really got fucking popping. Was when he was doing that show. I still remember the week-long primetime premiere. And Regis was on that show. It was, man, that show was the shit. That show was the shit. Loved it. Loved it. I can't remember the name of the host, the female host that did the daily version of the show. Mara Veda or some shit like that. I didn't particularly care when she came in. My whole thing was, nah, man, if it ain't Regis, it ain't the same. I'm not watching it. Honestly, I'm fucking good. I remember watching his send-off, his final Live with Regis. I remember being so fucking sad because it was, yeah, I mean, it wasn't like he was totally disappearing. You know, it wasn't like he was, you know, he was dying at that point, or he's bye, I'm dead. It wasn't like he was doing anything like that. But there was such great sadness because it was, man, I grew up on this guy when I was a little pint-sized kid. You know, wow, and now here I am. I'm a young man. And wow, he's going off into the sunset now. But a great guy. Great fucking guy. I don't think you'll find hardly that many people saying anything bad about Regis. And let me tell you something. When you look at how respectful and how much of a class act he was on the industry, I said this on Twitter, and I really hope more of my colleagues, fellow podcasters will definitely join me on this. Fans as well, especially veteran fans that, grew up on Regis like I did, for all of his contributions and just the class, the dignity, the way that he was in dealing with those from the wrestling industry and really opening up the door. Think about this. Before Yahoo, before TMZ, before Sports Illustrated, before fucking Newsweek, you name it, before all these guys started to cover pro wrestling, Regis Philbin was the one that, okay, yeah, we can do this. Regis wasn't trying to do no, aha, I got you moment. This shit's fake. Maybe fucking Donahue and them other motherfuckers were trying to do that whole fucking gotcha, but Regis wasn't operating like that. He really was a fan, and he was trying to really pay it forward. This was a part of his personality that he was putting out there on display. So essentially, if you were kind of taking a shit on wrestling, then you were kind of taking a shit on Regis, because you were taking a shit on what he liked. You were taking a massive shit on his hobby, basically. So I'm hoping that next year, and I basically said this on Twitter, no doubt, WWE needs to induct Regis Philbin in their celebrity wing for the WWE Hall of Fame. And it baffles me to this very day. And it dawned on me right before Raw came on. I put all of this out in a tweet. I said, it baffles me that Regis never went into the WWE celebrity wing of the Hall of Fame. I thought for sure he did. And I'm looking online. I'm not finding anything. I'm using keywords. I'm not finding anything. And it's a case of, so wait a minute. So Drew Carey is in. Pete Rose is in. Kid Rock is in. But Regis isn't in the celebrity wing? Regis doesn't get in before those guys? What the fuck? So I'm hoping that next year, celebrity wing, WWE goes ahead and they do that. Now, Regis's family, they have put out a rather cool request to fans that's mourning over his passing and everything. And they basically said, hey, if you want to honor Regis, you want to do something really, really cool. They basically had said you could donate. And let me see if I can actually pull it up here. I'm trying to see where I saw that. Bear with me 1 second here, because I saw it right before I went live on the air here. Give me a second, and I should be able to pull it up. Yeah, I got it right here. By People Magazine. This was about a couple of hours ago. And yeah, so basically, following Philbin's death on Friday, his loved ones are thanking fans for their outpouring love and support, and asking those who are interested in honoring the late television host to make a donation to the food bank for New York City, which provides meals to those in need. Regis' family is overwhelmed by the outpouring of love we've received. If you'd like to honor Regis' memory, we kindly ask that you make a donation to foodbanknyc.org. I'll give that to you guys once again. foodbanknyc.org, to help people in need in his beloved New York, especially his home borough of the Bronx. Thank you, a family spokesperson says in a statement to People. So, you guys want to do that, go for it. Again, that link, foodbanknyc.org. One more time, foodbanknyc.org. So check that out. But definitely he'll be missed. And I hope that next year, I'm telling you, if he's not in the celebrity wing of the Hall of Fame, I'm really going to be frowning and raising an eyebrow at the WWE, going WTF on that one. So rest in peace. Also, over here in the nation's capital, John Lewis's body, great. They had it pass through Black Lives Plaza. Yeah, that was awesome to see and everything. It is lying in state right now for the public to come and pay their respects. It's going to be like that for, I think, the next 2 days before it goes on to its final resting place and everything. Badass. Fucking badass. I love how everybody's just coming together. And out here in the nation's capital, it's awesome because all the people that are showing up to pay their respects to this great man, they're wearing their suits. Now, they say, the official rule, they say, you can come as you are. You want to come pay your respects and you're in flip-flops or whatever, it's okay. But so far, from everything that's been happening out here, everybody that's been coming to pay their respect, they are wearing suit, ties, business-like clothing, really trying to do their best to pay their respects to the late senator. A man that literally, hey, I will die on my sword, fighting for the good fight, fighting for the good cause and everything. And look, I don't want to get all political. I don't. I usually try to save the talk for politics and all that on our Patreon shows with the missus and everything. But I will say this. I will say this. When you hear a question being asked of our president, hey, are you going to be heading to the nation's capital there and pay your respects to the senator? You're going to pay your respects and, visit his body? And it's a flat out no. I think that should tell you everything that you need to know about that particular individual. It should tell you what you need to know. Now's not the time to be going all tick for tat. I'm gonna leave it right there. But I will say this. We need more of our white friends, our white allies, like Mick Foley, really trying to do their part in, hey, y'all, we really need to come together, especially when it comes to shit that's going on with social injustice, look at what Mick Foley had said. For those of you that's checking out the webcast here, getting ready to pull this image up. I know those of you that's going to be listening to the audio, you sadly aren't going to be able to see this, but Mick Foley, when you talk about a ballsy, classy move that he did here, he put out a tweet earlier today, and it said, seems like as good a day as any to lose some followers. And he simply puts up an image that's borrowing off of the NWO graphics and all that, and it's BLM. And right up under it, Black Lives Matter. And Foley even has the hashtag Black Lives Matter. He's got multiracial fist emojis in there, so it looks like there's a black emoji fist, a white emoji fist, maybe a Hispanic fist as well. And when I saw that, it really just tugged at my heart. It made me overjoyed to see that. Kevin Nash, I mean, we've known for years, Kevin Nash has always been outspoken. He does not give a fuck. He endorsed this. I mean, Kevin Nash is all for Black Lives Matter. He does not give a fuck. He has lost followers left and right. He does not give a fuck. You know, it's nice seeing these guys lending their voices to what is an important milestone happening in our society right now. And again, for those of you listening to the audio, you're not going to be able to see this, but I actually responded to this tweet. And look, I don't expect Mick Foley to respond to this. I don't. But I just went with what was in my heart at that moment. And when I saw that, I said to Mick Foley, and I quote, "Thank you for reaffirming what I always felt about you for years as a fan. And when I got to meet you at Improv here in DC a few years back, and that's your true class act and kind human being. Thank you for loaning your heart and your voice to this cause." You know, Mick Foley has been involved in the pro wrestling industry for many years, and much like The Undertaker, you will not find anybody saying anything bad about Mick Foley. You know, Mick Foley has tirelessly, relentlessly donated his time, his money to worthy causes, a lot of causes that people don't even know about. Maybe you'll hear about it after the fact. You know, he doesn't do like some people, you know, like Taylor Swift or Ariana Grande. Hey, I'm going to go visit some sick kids at Children's Hospital, and I'm going to bring them $300,000 worth of gifts. Yeah. Go ahead and leak that out. You know, Foley doesn't operate like that. I mean, he could be literally at home watching TV, reading a newspaper, something jumps at him, something touching, he wants to get involved, and he just does what he needs to do, get it done. It's not about press, it's just about doing what's right. And that's what we need a lot more people doing in this great time of great division right now. And I really mean, I don't know if you guys have ever gotten a chance, but if you ever do get a chance, you've never done it before, but you get a chance to take advantage and see Mick Foley at one of his one-man shows, take advantage of it. And if he's doing some type of an autograph signing or a photo op signing, I promise you won't regret it, because he's so hands-on, he's very personable, he's very interactive, he's got a pretty good memory too. I mean, you know, this is somebody you definitely, you know, if you're trying to have an ally on your side for some shit like what's going on right now in our society, he's definitely one of the people that you would want, because he's definitely going to do it right. He's not going to try to go and change the fucking narrative. You know, I'm kind of reminded of that scene from Malcolm X where the white girl, Malcolm X from 1992, starring Denzel Washington and Angela Bassett. I'm reminded of that powerful scene where the white girl runs up to Malcolm X and she says, "Mr. X, I just want you to know I'm so into what's all going on. The social injustice is happening for you and your people. I think it's wrong on so many levels. And I just want to know, what can I do as a white person to help you guys out, to help further the cause and really help shake things up, have things change for the better? What can I do to help? And Malcolm X looks at her and says nothing and just walks away. It was such a powerful fucking scene. Well, that might have been true back then. Kind of wrong on some levels, but now we're here in this new millennium, and we're legitimately getting people that, we get it. We truly do get it. We're not doing this just to score brownie points with the black race, the Puerto Rican race, this race, or because it's going to give us good PR. No, that's not why we're doing this. We're doing this because we legitimately want to fucking help. We believe in what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Give me somebody like a Mick Foley any day of the week versus Mike Ditka. Did you guys even see the shit that Mike Ditka had put out there today? He basically said, in a nutshell, go educate yourselves. And for those of you that aren't quite caught up on your sports, you're not that hip on your sports and everything, Mike Ditka was a longtime tenure coach of the Chicago Bears, one of my beloved favorite teams when I was growing up in Chicago. And Mike Ditka basically said, hey, any athlete that's kneeling, the hell with the whole social injustice, blah, 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 blah. You're going to be kneeling? Get out of the country. Get out of the US of A. And I just couldn't help but just fucking shake my head and go, damn, Mike, really? This is the same Mike Ditka. I watched his football life story on the NFL Network many times. This is the same Mike Ditka that was really trying to pay it forward, and he saw that there was a great injustice that was going on with his fellow football players that were no longer in the league, and they're financially struggling. They aren't making any type of revenue. They aren't able to fucking have the money that they need so that they could take care of their fucking medical expenses and all this other shit. He saw this great injustice that was going on amongst his peers and said, God damn it, that is just morally wrong. That is socially wrong on so many levels after what these players have done for this great sport. They literally gave up their bodies, their livelihoods, and this is how they're repaid for all of that. And he started up this little organization or whatever to, help veteran football players. Okay, you need help for medical expenses, this, okay. That's what he did. So I thought of all people, if anybody could even understand what this whole kneeling and protesting has been all about, I would have thought that Mike Ditka would have understood that. Boy, was I wrong. Does that make him a racist? I don't think so. And the only reason why I say that, and again, y'all got to go back, you got to watch the Football Life joint. The only reason why I don't feel that way is because he really had a deep connection with what was that player when he was coaching briefly there for the Dolphins, Ditka? What was the name of that player that he was able to draft? And they did that infamous cover where that football player was in a skirt or whatever, was in a wedding dress, and Ditka was right there beside him. I can't think of the name of the player right now, but he loved that guy. He loved that guy fucking tremendously. And I wish I could remember that guy's name right now, but it's sadly not coming to me Was it the Dolphins that he played for? Let me look at his coaching record real quick here. As a coach. I'm looking at Mike Ditka as a coach here. Give me a second here. Saints. It was the Saints. Was it the Saints? I think it was the Saints. I cannot remember the name of the player though. That's the sad part. I can't. I can see his face and everything. So for you football fans out there, you know the player I'm talking about. If you guys can help me before the broadcast ends, I'd appreciate it. But it's not coming into my brain off the break. But I would have thought that, you know, if anybody truly understood, I don't think he's coming from that some of us would dub it the white privilege, and I don't think he's coming from that standpoint. I just, come on, this guy is what, 81 years old? I think his whole thing is America Pie, love our country or leave it. John West is an American icon. Yeah, I think he's kind of in one of those type of realms. Individual like him, you just got to feel sad for him, and you just got to pity him. And you just got to be like, you foolish old man. You really just don't understand. You're not properly educating yourself. You're settled in your own ways. That's something else that you got to think about too. Your personality is forever in stone by the time you're age 14, 15, maybe even 16. Your personality is forged pretty much until the day you die. You have your own ways. You got your own ideology. When your mind is set on something, that's basically it. And that's exactly the case with fucking Mike Ditka. But, you know, I pity the guy. I really do. I really, really, really fucking pity the guy. And, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's going to take somebody like a Ray Lewis. Maybe it's going to take somebody like a Shannon Sharp to really pull this guy to the side, have a private conversation with him, and tell him, hey, you're wrong on so many levels, and this is why you're wrong. And I just wish the whole narrative about the whole, if you're going to kneel, well, understand why the kneeling is happening, understanding the meaning behind the kneeling, because it's so much more than disrespecting it's not about disrespecting the flag. It never was about disrespecting the fucking flag. That's as deep as I'm gonna get. That's as philosophical as I'm gonna get with that. But I'm gonna stop right there. This is how the show is. We usually, boop, boop, boop. Give a shout out to our Patreon members. Remember, patreon.com/RCWR show. That's where you can go to get access to bonus exclusive audio, video content you won't be able to find anywhere else. We did it last week. We're off to a good start. It was the return of Impact Showdown, a beloved lost podcast of mine that I used to do weekly, covering Impact Wrestling Fallout. You can catch new episodes of Impact Showdown exclusively and only on patreon.com/RCWR show. There will be a new one dropping Tuesday night going into Wednesday morning for you guys. So you Patreon members, now's a good time. Sign up, get access to that. Other exclusive audio and video content you won't be able to find anywhere else. Shout out to Patreon members. Justin Ripstock. Shout out to Gino. Shout out to Sean Kenter. What's up, Sean? Shout out to Tony Bing Gaming. You want the very latest in all things Marvel Strike Force, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, and pretty soon, Square Enix's Marvel's The Avengers. Tony Bing Gaming, tips, tricks, news, walkthroughs, reviews, whole 9 yards. Check him out. By the way, you may have noticed right there, I did not mention Marvel Super War. It's for very good reason. Looks as though that game is not going to be getting a global launch as many of us, especially here in North America and Canada, were expecting. It's not happening. This game is only available. It was available in beta mode, and I actually did get my hands on the beta mode, and I was playing it for a bit. Had to do a couple of workarounds, but I was able to play it for a bit. You basically got to be living in Singapore, Pakistan, Japan, there's like basically 5 territories. If you're not in one of those 5 territories, you're just not going to be able to play it. But basically, the official statement that was released, I want to say yesterday, or maybe it was during the weekend. But basically, they said the game is only going to be released in those territories. It's not going to be... Usually, when you see an announcement like that coming, and this is fresh off the heels of, bear in mind, about a year in waiting. You know, we were led to believe that, oh yeah, globally it's coming, it's coming, but for right now, it's just going to be in these areas, but it will eventually be expanded globally. When you've been hearing that for about a year, and the year comes and goes, and you're saying to yourself, what's going on? And then you get a statement like that they put out on their official Twitter account, that's usually a bad sign that the game is not doing that well, and that game is probably going to be pulled any moment. So I hope you guys that's been doing a workaround and you've been playing it, hopefully you haven't been forking up money for that game, because sadly, case like that, non-refundable. So you're supporting something that's really essentially never gonna truly take off. Stop investing your money in it. I would imagine that probably under 6 months, that thing's gonna get the axe all together when it's all said and done. So sad, but I truly was excited for it, because look, you got Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 that's available for the Nintendo Switch right now. I know that's something else that Tony Bing's covering and everything, but unless you got a Nintendo Switch, it's so a lot of people were actually looking forward to Marvel Super War, because it reminded them, definitely me as well, it reminded me a lot like Marvel Ultimate Alliance. But yeah, so Marvel Super War, looks like that game no more. Also, Patreon shout outs to John Davis and Michael Wolf. Remember, patreon.com/RCWR show. Check out bonus exclusive content. See, as far as maybe a couple of other things that we can get into tonight, one other thing, I'm happy that this is coming back, by the way. G4 TV is apparently coming back. This is a beloved channel that I grew up on, so many fond memories. Still have a crush on her to this day. Morgan Webb. Oh, God, I love her. I fucking love Morgan Webb. I love Adam Sessler. Adam Sessler is the fucking man. And what they were doing on X-Play, love that fucking show. Attack of the Show, Kevin Pereira, he was fucking awesome. The chick Blair, Olivia Munn, good fucking moments, good fucking memories. My all-time favorite episode of Attack of the Show was when Kevin Pereira and Olivia Munn were interviewing Mickey Rourke. And at this point, I believe Mickey Rourke maybe just got done doing Iron Man 2. And he was on the show, and Mickey Rourke was doing his best to try to charm the hell out of Olivia Munn. But the way he was going about charming her was quite disgusting, because somehow the talk gets to sex, and Mickey Rourke, like multiple times, he basically pretends to spit in his hand and, you know, gesture his crotch like, you know, he needs to grease up the dick, you know, for sex. And Olivia Munn just has this creeped out fucking look on her face and everything. It was like one of the most awkwardest yet funniest fucking interviews I ever saw in my life. And I think it's funny, given what's going on with this whole Me Too movement and, you know, speaking out and all that. I find it funny that if there was any time to maybe bring something up, wouldn't surprise me if that was brought up, especially by Olivia. And surprisingly, she did not bring that up. So I don't know. But anyway, look that up. If you want to get douche chills and just what the fuck, look that up. Look up Mickey Rourke, Attack of the Show, you should be able to find it. But good fucking series. You know, it basically had got the axe, and from what I kind of remember about G4 getting the axe was the people that were basically in charge. Oh, well, we want to go in a different direction with the network. We want to rebrand it. We want to be more than just a gaming channel. You know, we want to go ahead and, you know, we want to try to do movies and other stuff. And it was pretty fucked up how it had fucking got the axe and everything. But there was a teaser released during a IGN Live broadcast as part of the ongoing Comic-Con at Home event. And it was basically a minute-long video track through a warehouse, ending with the Pong and the high scores before it went to the whole G4 logo, and the words read 2021 and we never stopped playing. So you see that and you're going, oh shit, they're fucking coming back. And it's being brought back by Comcast in some form in 2021. Reportedly leading the charge is Tucker Roberts, who's currently president of both the gaming wing of Comcast Spectator brand and the Overwatch League's Philadelphia Fusion. In addition to appearing on G4's new YouTube channel, that little clip there also uploaded to YouTube channels of the former G4 network programs Attack of the Show, X-Play, and yeah, so pretty fucking good. You know, this launched initially in 2002, and the channel it ran for about 12 years. Man, a lot of fun fucking moments, man. A lot of fun fucking moments. And it always rubbed me the wrong way when it fucking aired. It always did. It always rubbed me the wrong way. The gaming history for G4 though, it was interesting though, because back then they really were chasing after the males. They were really going after the male demos, because if Attack of the Show wasn't on, if fucking X-Play wasn't on, you would always be able to find an episode of Cheaters on there. You'd always be able to find an episode of Cops on there. I mean, it was just, you know, if you wanted to kind of go with the whole sexist route or whatever, you could kind of go that route. You know, nobody could really have a good comeback for you. Like, man, this is all they fucking show. But I tell you what, I stayed watching Cheaters. What was that dude's name? Joey Greco? Whatever the fuck his name is. I still remember the episode where his dumbass got fucking stabbed and he went over the fucking boat. One of my all-time favorite moments. I was like, good for your ass. That's your fucking bitch ass kid. Always probing your nose in other people's business there. See, other than that, I'm gonna say let's stick a fork in it for now, since we're coming right back. I just don't know if we're gonna be coming on Wednesday night or we're gonna be coming on Thursday night. That's the only thing I don't know about right now. So you guys will have to bear with me as I try to figure out what's gonna be going on with my schedule. But either Wednesday night or Thursday night is gonna be your next free-for-all edition of the RCWR show. But I could definitely tell you, Patreon members, Tuesday night going into Wednesday morning, you guys will get a new Impact Showdown. So make sure you're connected and ready to go as far as your notifications and all that goes. And yeah, that'd be fucking badass. That would be fucking badass. I would love to see Kana or demonic fucking Asuka pop up. Everybody on social media wants to see the demonic fucking Kana / Asuka pop up in WWE now. We may get that. We may fucking get that. I would love to fucking see that. I'm glad we're still on the air. Apparently, Kairi Sane officially bidded farewell to the WWE. I'm glad that we're still on the air here. This is by WWE's official Twitter account. So let me just click on this article real quick before we get ready to roll out here. All right, so this article reads as follows. Following Monday Night Raw, Kairi Sane took to Twitter to thank her fellow superstars, WWE staff, and the WWE Universe for their support as she prepares to leave WWE. Again, this article officially from WWE's website, WWE.com. Kairi Sane said in a tweet, "My time in NXT and WWE locker rooms was incredible. Everyone was kind, funny, and talented. So every day was full of happiness. Also, I was saved by the supportive staff behind the scenes. I will forever love and respect all these professionals I had the pleasure of working with. I was able to accomplish so much in the last 3 years, but it wasn't because of my ability or my strength. It was because of all of the consistent, warm support from the fans. I am so thankful I could meet you all. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, Kairi Sane." Sane joined WWE in 2017, winning the inaugural Mae Young Classic. Along with the hearts of the WWE Universe, she would go on to capture the NXT Women's Championship and the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship alongside Asuka. Wow, so some interesting, I guess you want to say breaking news right there, or maybe you could say expected news, but now it's official. Kairi Sane no longer with the WWE, as she officially bidded farewell to them. So, I mean, you can still hold out hope that maybe in some shape or form, maybe these two paths will cross again, especially when WWE is really laying the foundation there in Japan with their subdivision, developmental territory, whatever it is they're trying to do out there. Maybe they can tap into her services once again. I will say, as far as her NXT run, her run in the Mae Young Classic and everything was good, especially in NXT. Everything was fucking good. But I always felt, honestly, when she came up to the main roster, I always felt that her truest potential was not realized. It was not realized. She was starting to scratch at the surface, but it did not ever come to its fullest potential. I always felt that way. And so, it kind of sucks to see her walk away. And just as a fan going, but you never really, you feel where I'm coming from? So, but, in her eyes, especially with the comments that she just laid out there, it sounded like she had really got some richer prizes, especially in the form of experiences. Well, not only was she here in North America, but also working for WWE and everything. So I'm not sure if there is some type of a clause where she can't do interviews or whatever for X period of time. Because remember what I had said earlier, her contract, it was rumored that it had expired or whatever. So my point is, I'm most curious about, you're going back to Japan, but could you ever see yourself coming back to the States? That's kind of one of the first questions that's coming into my mind. Can you see yourself, maybe in a year or so, after you enjoy your husband and just catching up with family and friends and everything, could you see yourself maybe coming back year or two, maybe doing something with the WWE again? Or at this point, is your heart just set out on staying in your country, working in your country? What's your game plan? So that's what I'm most curious about right now. But I gotta say, there's gonna be a little part of me that's actually gonna miss her, because I gotta tell you, I was really starting to enjoy seeing Kairi and Asuka. That was a great formation that they did with those two. They gelled really fucking well together. I mean, the chemistry just off of each other. Now, if I were to tell you what would have been one of my WrestleMania dream matches, I gotta tell you, I would have loved to seen a WrestleMania where Kairi Sane took on Io Shirai and Asuka. Kairi Sane, Asuka, Io Shirai, triple threat match for either the Raw Women's Championship or the SmackDown Women's Championship, or better yet, it could have been NXT Women's Champion taking on the Raw Women's Champion, taking on the SmackDown Women's Champion, winner takes all. I thought silly me, but there was a little part of me in the back of my head that was kind of under the impression that maybe we were going to kind of go in that direction one day. But I'll say never, but I just kind of feels like we're never really going to get anything close to a moment like that. Now, for me, that definitely, there's not too many dream matches that I can think of off the top of my head dealing with today's current crop of talents stretched out across the promotions. But that definitely was something I was kind of toying around with a year and a half, 2 years now, and the way it's looking, safe to say that's not gonna happen. But Godspeed, safe travels to Kari Sane. Definitely is going to be missed. Definitely is going to be missed. All right, so that was nice. It's nice that we were able to give you guys a little bit of breaking news there before we were getting ready to wrap it up for tonight. All right, so once again, you get Tuesday night Patreon members. You guys are going to get Impact Showdown, so be ready for that. And then either Wednesday night or Thursday night, you'll get your next episode, free for all, of the RCWR show. I can't believe I almost forgot. For those of you that's going to be listening to the audio version of the shows, I'll say this maybe one or two more times during the show. I'll try to say it a little bit more up front. You guys that listen to the audio version of the show, you may have noticed that the ads, there are more ads on the audio versions now. That is not a case where, damn, did somebody fuck up? Surely this is an oversight. Apparently, the advertisers want more fucking ads. I have nothing to do with that. So as I'm basically getting the episodes ready to be loaded up for syndication and all that, I'm now going through a 3-step optimization process. And the first optimization process, it's basically, okay, what's going on with your episode, how it's titled, is there enough meta info? Yeah, okay, you get a check mark for that. It meets all those conditions. Then I get a second check mark for, okay, are your cues lined up? Cues basically, okay, where we think ads should be slotted, you know, monitoring your audio after we've uploaded it to our server. Yeah, everything kind of looks like it's good to go as far as queuing up audio. And then the third step to get complete optimization is the ads. And there used to be a time where I could just go in and I could just, okay, I just want to put one ad here or two ads here. Or you may have noticed, particularly the past 2 shows, no bullshit, we had one show from last week, I think that was 3 hours long, or maybe damn near 3 hours long. And that show ended up, when I was optimizing it, they were like, okay, this one needs 30 ads. And I'm going, what the fuck? Bullshit. They wanted 30 ads. I'm going, okay. And then there was another joint where they were like, this one could use 16 ads. So my point, if you guys do not want to hear the ads, you got 2 options. The first option, you got a very powerful button at your disposal, the fast forward button. The second option that you have, be a Patreon member. $5 a month, that's it. $5 a month. You get access to audio, video content, unedited, uninterrupted, ad fucking free. You don't have to hear all that fucking shit. But hey, somehow we got to do what we can to keep up with the show expenses and all that. So that's a process that they want us to do now. So sorry if it fucking if it puts some of you guys in the inconvenience. I get it, but it's totally out of my hands. So do consider being a Patreon member. Try to see if maybe you can do the workaround with the fast forward button, but being a Patreon member, you just totally take great comfort, great ease knowing you can just bypass all that. You ain't got to worry about any of that shit. Not to mention you get some exclusive shit. Pretty soon I'm going to be setting up some shit for some Patreon contests, some prize giveaways with regards to Patreon and all that. So more details on that in the coming week. But that is going to do it. If you're going to be waiting for the audio version of this, I will have this available Tuesday night. Meanwhile, programming note, next Monday, which is going to be August the 3rd, there will not be a show. Next Monday, I got to get some blood work done. Actually, no, next Monday, I've got to actually go in for my doctor's appointment to basically refill my prescription. And this is a new doctor, so I'm kind of basically breaking bread with them. But tomorrow, I do have to go get some blood work done and all that. But next Monday, there won't be a show because I'll be checking in with the new doctor. But everything will be back to normal next Wednesday or Thursday for your next show. Okay? Be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand on the downloads. Leave the thumbs up, the like, subscribe, all that helps out. Till next go round. Wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I will catch you guys later. Adios!